Hello, Brandon. How are you, mate?
Good. Good morning from America.
Yeah, good afternoon from UK. So let's get a bit into your background first, because I obviously people don't know too much about you because you're a bit behind the scenes. But you're a striking coach at JacksonWink MMA, and you work with a lot of the well-known fighters that we all know. Some would even say that you work with the GOAT. Depends who you talk to, but that's what you do. And is there anything more you want to say about the bits that you do?
Yeah, I've been at Jackson Wink since 2003. So I was with the gym before anybody really blew up or came up. Like Diego Sanchez was on the Ultimate Fighter 1, and then Keith Jardine started having success. Then Rashad Evans came down, and then George St. Pierre came, and the gym just really kind of exploded from there. But prior to all that, it was just a small group of local Albuquerque fighters, and I was one of them. And I trained for many years, even before joining the gym. Then I had some injuries in my early 20s that kind of prevented me from competing for that time period. And Greg Jackson said, "Hey, you know what? You should coach. You have all the characteristics and qualities of a good leader, and the skill and the knowledge." And he encouraged me to start working as a striking coach. And under his tutelage and Mike Winklejohn's tutelage, I've been able to work with a lot of well-known UFC champions and Hall of Famers and great up-and-comers.
Yeah, yeah, that's great because like having injuries in the sport obviously is something that can take you out of it, but it's not something that can completely stop you from being involved in the sport, like you say.
Yeah, absolutely. And Greg was right. That just my kind of natural personality lent more towards the coaching side than even the competitive side. Not that coaching isn't competitive, but yeah, it was the path I was supposed to be on.
Yeah. And like I don't know which injuries you've obviously had, but with the injuries, does that affect you at all with like any of the coaching side of it? Because sometimes holding pad, you can even pick up injuries.
Oh yeah, holding pads is a very grueling job.
Hmm.
Um, Very hard on your shoulders and your back and your elbows and your wrists. And but I've been able to stay pretty healthy coaching. I try to do my best to stay fit and stay strong and stay active and listen to my body when I need to. But the injuries I had from fighting, I'm all surgically repaired up now, and plates and screws, and uh, got me back in one piece.
Got you working all right again.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So let's get into talking about some of the fighters that you're currently working with at the minute. And one fighter I wanted to talk to you about, especially I was quite excited to talk to you about, was Claressa Shields because she's recently come into the gym.
She has, and you know what? I was out of town when she came, so I've not had a chance to meet with her yet. But I've only heard amazing things about her. Holly and John and Coach Jackson just have spoke the world about her. I'm glad she came down to Albuquerque. I'm excited for her MMA future. I heard she'll be back again next week, so I look forward to trying to link up with her and just get to know her and make her feel welcome here in Albuquerque.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And that's something that you've like having a boxer come over to MMA. That's something that you've probably experienced before with Holly Holm.
Yeah, I mean Holly kind of set the blueprint in many ways to be a great boxing champion and make the transition into MMA and become a UFC world champion. Um, Holly did learn how to box though out of like a kickboxing and MMA school. So and Holly had kickboxed competitively
Hmm.
before she got real heavy into boxing. So Holly was a little more of a well-versed striker in some ways, but I think Clarissa's amateur boxing style is going to carry over really well into MMA. Like just very high pace. The small gloves, we don't need to be hitting as hard as we can on every strike. So she seems to throw with a lot of volume and a lot of speed, and I think that's going to lend itself well to MMA.
Hmm. Of course, there's definitely a lot that you can transfer from boxing to MMA. But in a sense, is there any way, any things you sort of need to undo because of the boxing side of the sport compared to the MMA?
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes, the biggest part is maybe the stance. You can't be that long. You get your legs kicked right out from under you or get taken right down. So adjusting the stance is one thing. And then, you know, the defense in the range is very different as well. Like the boxing defense range that you might feel comfortable to be able to evade strikes with isn't the same in MMA either. So, you know, some slight adjustments, but it sounds like she's just an incredible athlete and very intelligent when it comes towards her craft. So I have no doubt that she'll be able to pick it up and have some success in the mixed martial arts game.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be exciting to see what she does, especially in a promotion like PFL as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's exciting promotion, especially when you can win $1 million bucks at the end of it.
Yeah, and they just signed Pettis. You know, they're coming up. I'm excited to see what PFL will do in 2021.
Yeah, but a lot of the other promotions are actually starting to gain a lot of traction with not just, well, they have done in the recent times, but with the names that they're bringing in recently.
A lot of free agents out right now.
Yeah, they're definitely testing the waters.
Mm-hmm.
And then on to Jon Jones a bit. How has he like sort of developed his sort of game going up to heavyweight? Because obviously he's putting on the pounds, but is there anything that you've like saw that you need to change in the different weight classes?
Well, you know, in heavyweight, there's just that much less room for mistakes and for error. Our defense has to be just laser sharp. But, you know, even if you're in the best defensive position, sometimes these guys are so strong, like a Nagano or a Stipe or Derek Lewis, they could just blast right through your guard. So we're really focused on developing our defense to an even greater level. And, you know, through Jon's decade of dominance at light heavyweight, he really didn't take that much damage. You know, there's definitely some wars like the first Gustafsson fight, but we had a lot of fights too where there wasn't much damage taken. So Jon has a very keen sense of defense and of range and of awareness, and I think it's all going to carry over very well into his heavyweight transition. Yeah,
and obviously speaking about the Gustafsson fight, he has openly admitted that he was partying throughout the week and whatnot. Did you ever notice, or did you ever have any conversations with him to tell him like, calm down, you got a fight in a week?
Yeah, I mean, it was wild times. It was wild times. I'm just happy we persevered and got through it and learned from it and became, you know, a smarter team. Not just Jon as an individual athlete, but all of us as coaches and teammates. And yeah, you know, sometimes you need those trials by fire to grow strength and to become wiser. So yeah, that was a long time ago. You know, it feels like a lifetime ago in some ways. So we've gotten much more disciplined since then.
Yeah, you could see that. And obviously Jon did an interview I can't remember if it was last week or the week before, but he said that he's not going to ever go back down to light heavyweight again. And like obviously there's been a lot of talk about him and Adesanya fighting in the future. And I'm not sure about what Adesanya wants to do, but I don't know if he's going to go up to heavyweight. So does that sort of put that fight on the back burner?
I don't know. We'll see. You know, Israel's been a great champion at middleweight. And, now I'm excited to see him fight for the light heavyweight belt. But I don't think, just as Jon's body matures and grows too, you know, Jon's in his early 30s now. You know, you look at his brothers, they're both very large athletes. Mm-hmm. You know, I think it's fitting Jon's frame and where he's at in his career right now to really embrace heavyweight. And, you know, the lighter weight classes, there's a much smaller difference between them, right? But between 205 pounds to 245 or 50 or all the way up to 265 is a very, very, very big difference. So it's not as easy to make that jump from light heavyweight to heavyweight without really putting time into changing your body. It's much different than being like a lightweight jumping up to welterweight or a featherweight going up to lightweight. You know, Conor's body didn't change drastically going from 45 to 55. It's just a more healthier version of him. Mm-hmm. Whereas Jon going from light heavyweight to heavyweight, we really have to pack on some real muscle and then make sure that his mixed martial arts technique and his stamina and his combos and his game plan and his cardio are all tied into that new size.
Yeah, definitely. Because I think it was Amanda Nunes against Chris Cyborg. She actually put that fight off for a while because she wanted to not just put on weight, but make sure she put on the right weight and the right way to do it, basically. So it's definitely a good idea to train the right way, so you're not going to lose any of the stuff that you're known for, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. And jumping up a weight class is always going to be a challenge, or going down a weight class. It just takes a lot of time and investment. But there's no bigger weight change than the light heavyweight to heavyweight. So yeah, we're just trying to do it right and take our time. And, you know, Adesanya's young in the game too. I like his chances against Blachowicz. Yeah, we'll just see if those guys ever, Jon and Adesanya, ever end up lining up. I know we'd be ready for that challenge.
Yeah. Yeah. And what do you think of that fight? Like, how do you think that fight goes down between Jan and Adesanya? For me, I see it as if Jan can obviously land, he's gonna knock Izzy out. But I see it as Izzy's gonna be too fast and sort of move around and outpoint him.
It's going to be interesting. Jan's been on quite a streak, you know, his knockout of Corey Anderson and his stoppage of Reyes, his stoppage of Rockhold. There's no doubt he has a lot of power and good timing on his power shots. And I think he could put anybody in light heavyweight down. Adesanya's slick, he's smart, great defense, great head movement, fights well out of both stances, and he's a sniper. You know, he takes his time. I'm intrigued to see how it goes. I'm intrigued to see how Adesanya looks at light heavyweight, and I think it's going to be a great fight. But you're right. I mean, Jan can finish it at any moment. Adesanya has that lightning fast speed that you don't see the shot coming that could put you down. I think it's going to be a great fight. Right now I'm leaning towards Adesanya.
Yeah. And back to Jon Jones. Has he actually spoke to you at all about who he sees his first opponent as at heavyweight?
Well, our goal is to fight for the heavyweight title. So, you know, whoever the belt holder is at the time when Jon's ready to go for it, whether that's Stipe or Francis or any of the other top guys, Jon's ready. I think that's the goal, is to just go right for the title. I don't think there's like a heavyweight warm-up fight. Yeah.
So obviously that fight's, I think it's meant to go down in March, sometime around there. So it's obviously going to be later on in the year that Jon's going to make his heavyweight debut.
Yeah, perhaps.
Hopefully, I want to see Jon Jones in 2021.
Sometimes in this game always get turned upside down, so we just kind of, you know, we have to be ready. You know, we're definitely working with intention right now.
Yeah, definitely. I haven't seen anyone like come out with any rumors or anything about when Jon's fighting here or nothing. So I'm just like really excited to see him back in there. So
yeah, we're working hard.
Yeah, and just out of interest, what weight is Jones currently at? If you feel like telling me.
I won't tell Jon's weight right now, but I'll tell you what, he's very fit and he's very strong.
Yeah. From all the Instagram posts I've seen, he looks like he's looking very good.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of coach injuries, man, my traps and shoulders were super sore after our last workout. I mean, he's hitting with some big time power right now. He feels like a heavyweight champion.
That's good to hear. I see you put on your story one of I think it was a spinning back kick that he must have landed on you. That looked like it hurt.
Yeah, I just joked that the pad prevents his heel from being injured by my abs of steel.
And what could you tell me what like his walk around weight was in between fights at light heavyweight? Like where sort of he got up to?
Yeah, you know, like during camp in his light heavyweight days, we were probably mid 220s.
Yeah, and that
was sorry, what's that?
And that was obviously more just being more free in between the fights than working out so much.
Yeah, well, that was like a good weight in camp, you know. And then as we got closer to the fight, you'd probably be in the high teens, and then cut down from there. So, yeah, I mean, it doesn't take much for Jon to put on muscle. You know, he's a great athlete. He loves lifting. He has a great team of strength and conditioning coaches around him, and very disciplined on his diet. He's a year-round athlete, that's for sure.
Yeah. And you've worked with like so many legendary fighters in the game. If I can get you to say one, could you put a finger on one that you enjoy working with most?
Wow. You know, it'd probably be a small handful that's up there together. You know, Jon Jones really believed in me when I was a young coach, and vice versa. So Jon and I kind of came up. Carlos Condit and I have been very close, working together for over a decade now. And I really have a lot of love for Aaron Pico. I think he's going to be a champion. he's one of my prize students right now, and he's in here every day, just working hard towards his goals. So, but man, Andre Arlovsky, I have a lot of love for Andre. We spent a lot of great time together. I learned a lot from him. Tim Kennedy, Cowboy Cerrone, Alistair Overeem, Cody Garbrandt. I've learned a lot from a lot of amazing fighters. So I've just been very fortunate, and I try to carry the lessons that they've shared with me and pass on to the next generation of fighters.
Yeah, that's definitely a definitely great tool to have in your toolbox, to be able to give them knowledge from fighters that have allegedly fighters in the game.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And sometimes it's stylistic, sometimes it's fight week prep, sometimes it's it's adjustments in the fight, and just knowing how to coach different personalities too is so key. Like, not everybody's gonna respond the same way or absorb the information the same way. And I've been fortunate to learn a lot from a lot of very experienced champions.
Mm-hmm. And obviously, you don't just train the fighters and help them with everything in the gym. You corner the fighters as well. So how is that for you? How does that experience live up to like what it's made out to be?
Oh, it's incredible. I mean, nothing like standing on the banner during like a UFC heavyweight fight when everybody's walking out and they're getting announced, and it's been months, if not years, of preparation and hard work. But in those moments, you just have to kind of quiet your mind and focus your eyes and put your blinders on and tune out everything, and just be there in the moment. And hopefully all of our skill, our strategy, our game plan, and our eyes and our voice in the corner come out when needed, Yeah,
definitely. It's not an easy job, or not a job to take lightly either.
No, the consequences are very, very real. And there's been many nights after a bout that I've, spent with my fighter in the hospital, and it's very real. And so I carry that weight the best I can. And each day-to-day's commitment to training, to studying, to developing game plans, and just communicating and trusting with the fighter. Because, if they're not confident or fully believe in what I have to say, then they're not going to perform the action.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Pico's last fight, we worked a move all camp, and sure enough, it was there, and Aaron recognized it. He threw the kind of set combination and just floored the guy, and then immediately was pointing at me like, you called it. And those are rewarding feelings, knowing that we put in the work, and it paid off in the fight. And it's not always like that, but it feels good when it is.
Yeah, I can imagine it's definitely rewarding when that happens, and you see not just the fighter's hard work paid off, but something that you've helped to implement in his game has paid off.
Yeah, it's very easy in this game, just like continue to do the same, right? Like, I hold the same pad combos, and it's like a set formula, but the game doesn't work that way. You always have to be studying and evolving and adjusting and working towards each individual athlete, and then their set matchup as well.
Yeah, of course. And just one fight you talked about, Cowboy Cerrone. What do you think of his current situation? Do you think it's time for him to say goodbye, or to keep fighting and maybe not? It's hard to say, because in the UFC they give you the top fighters no matter who you are, no matter where you are in your career.
Yeah.
But the way I look at Cerrone is that if you watch his social medias and everything, he's off doing all these crazy things anyway, and he's going to get that adrenaline rush. Maybe not as high as it is when he's fighting, but he's going to get it from somewhere.
Yeah, he'll always be that guy. I haven't worked with Donald in a few years now, but we had a good long run together, and I think he's commented saying that he sees the end in sight, but he definitely wants to go out on his own terms, and he's going to be a Hall of Famer no matter what. He's fought on some of the biggest stages against some of the greatest in the game. He's always going to be Cowboy, though. He's always going to be doing rowdy, fun stuff, and I know whatever he chooses to do when he decides to hang up the gloves, he'll be super successful at as well. He's just that guy. But 2021, he started with the McGregor fight that didn't go his way, and then he just continues like hard fighters, the Pettis fight and the Nico Price fight, and he's just always looking for that big challenge.
Yeah.
And I don't know what Cowboys still has a real good team around him, and I'm sure that those guys can make a adjustments and get him back on track.
Yeah, hopefully, because there's a few of the fights have been like sort of, they could have gone either way. Like the Pettis fight, a lot of people said that he should have won that fight. And then if that happens and he wins that fight, you don't get, most of the people don't say, oh, he's lost however many in a row and blah blah blah. So
yeah, it's a hard game, man, and the guys keep getting younger and faster and stronger, and yeah, but like I said, Cowboy's a Hall of Famer no matter what, and he'll know when it's time. He's made that walk a lot of times, so
yeah, definitely. I think he's got the record for most wins in the UFC, hasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he's definitely going to be in the Hall of Fame no matter what. So, but yeah, that's all the questions I've got for you. Unless you want to say anything.
I appreciate your time, man, and thank you for your time today. And I look forward to talking with you. And all the best to you in this new year, and all the best to the UK MMA fans.
Thank you very much, and all the best to you. I look forward to talking to you again in the future.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you, mate.